much for the Lightroom CC or Lightroom Classic. If you have a Lightroom Classic or CC, you can create HDR images right with the Lightroom itself without having to buy a plugin. There are several advantages to using Lightroom for your HDR conversion. Lightroom's HDR merge creates natural looking HDR images. Not everybody will see this as an advantage. But if you want to create garish, oversaturated image, a aforementioned plug insert will help. You don't need to look of a bracketed images. To seem to be enough, you can use more if you want. Or if you want a really contrasty scene, one export at -2 stops, the other at a +2 stops. First I am selecting 3 images, those I clicked by bracketing. The first image, the normal exposure with the shutter speed of a 160 seconds. The second image is underexposed by -1 step and the shutter speed is a 1:125 seconds. Because exposure bracketing is typically done with the shutter speed. So by underexposing -1 shutter speed, increase means less light will come on same aperture, so the image has a dark area and shadows. The third image has shutter speed of 1:30 seconds, so image is overexposed to +1. It means light is coming more than normal 1:60 second speed by using shutter speed of a 130 seconds. So image is more brighter and has a more highlights. Now you can understand the whole concept of the bracketing. Cameras auto bracket with the 0 EV, the second with the -1 and the third with the +1. These are 3 shots because I set the bracketing value frames as equal to 3 and increment is 1. 1 means -1 for underexposed and +1 for overexposed. If you want to know about EV means exposure value, you can watch full video on exposure value. I had added a link in the description and also added card above. I have already imported these 3 images to my Lightroom Classic software. Here is also HDR image that I have already created. I am recreating it again, so you will understand the whole process. I am selecting these 3 images in the dual module. Then go to the photo, select photo merge, then select HDR. Or right click on one of the selected photos and select photo merge and then select HDR. The HDR merge preview windows open and Lightroom creates a preview of the HDR image. This may take some time, especially if you have selected several images. The auto align and auto tone boxes are ticked and the deghost amount is set to the none. By default, Lightroom remembers the last setting used if you have changed them. Auto align is useful if the camera moved between exposure, for example if you handled the camera. And auto tone performs a similar function to the auto tone settings in the basic panel of the development tool. You may be surprised to learn that there are not many settings to adjust. This is deliberate as the aim is to let Lightroom produce a natural looking HDR image, which you can then process in the development tool to achieve the desired look. You can set deghost amount to low, medium, at high. If you see any ghosting takes the form of lines, white patches or other artifacts caused by subject movement taking place between frames, such as trees blowing in the wind, cloud moving across the sky or people walking through the scene. Click the merge button when you are done. Lightroom saves the merged images as a 32-bit DNG file with the suffix HDR appended to the file name and take you back the module where you started. From there you can edit the image as a normal in the development module. You will see the progress bar on the left top corner. This is the result for my HDR merge. I used 2 photos bracketed 1 stop apart. That's not a lot, but this shoot taking indoor and what I wanted was a photo that captured detail in both the interior and sunlight come from the windows. With window lights you would use images that were bracketed further apart. See before and after. It shows a comparison between the HDR image right and the same photo taken without any exposure compensation left. As you can see, merging to exposure has allowed me to capture the details in the yellow lights. If at the stage you think the image has too much of the HDR feel, you can use the basic panel slider or local adjustments to alter the tonal values. For example, you can increase shadows or blacks setting to add contrast. So you don't have the unnatural detail in the every shadow effect that typifies overdone HDR. The differences are subtle. I just made the image a little brighter and moved the highlight slider to bring out as much detail in the glass and chandelier light as possible. This is the final image. After making few adjustments, the HDR image was taken according to the default camera setting, so it always sets equal increment and decrement for any set by you. You can do it same by manually and increase or decrease according to your requirement, or even set ISO or focus manually to merge on Lightroom to get more contrast and saturation. So that's all for the today. Soon I will come with the next part of this video. Thanks for watching.